Bill King joining us out of Nashville Sports Radio, the king of college football talk. He was on Nashville Sports Radio 6 to 9, Monday through Friday, and joining us Wednesdays, usually here. Bill, how you doing in the middle of July?
Hey, guys. Doing good. Appreciate it.
You got it. Got a few days until SEC Media Days, and I know you're not a big guy into Media Days or anything as far as attending goes, and I kind of tune out a lot of what you hear there. Are there certain, you've got a verboten list that we've touched on before. It's like, do you know specifically what to ignore based upon what you're hearing? Like when I hear the term best shape of my life or best shape of his life, I usually stop listening. What are some verboten terms that you know we're going to hear next week that you'll just automatically tune out?
I did, just to let you know how I'm to the conclusion where I'm not going to go to anymore. Now, next year it's in Nashville. I may be forced to, but my plan is to not go to another one. I've done about 30 of them. We were the first the first people to broadcast radio from the Civic Center in Birmingham, late 80s. And Emmitt Smith was one of the interviews, I remember.
Wow.
That year, and he was talking about how his mom wouldn't let him go to Auburn, or that's where he was going to go. So I have some vivid memory. I've done tons of them. I used to do the swing by, do SEC, go to Dallas, do the Big 12, go to Chicago, do the Big 10, and then from Chicago down to South Bend because Notre Dame's not in a league, so I'd go do their team media day. I used to do all that, but again, I've done my time there, guys. I don't know if this year we're going to get a lot of the call it boilerplate. Everybody is showing immense leadership. Our freshmen are better than ever. Nobody's worked out harder than this group. It's been a total buy-in. Those are all catchwords that are just ridiculous. Nothing matters but the game on the field. But I think this year we're going to get a lot of what are you thinking, name, image, likeness? What do you think about 12 teams playing it off? What about the freebie transfer? I think we're going to get a lot of futuristic stuff, too.
Bill, I personally would love to go to a media day just to kind of feel out the scene and really see what it's truly like to be there on Radio Row down there in Birmingham. But for media days itself, and I get why it used to be a really big event, but who really is this event for nowadays? It's not a big fan event. Media-wise, we don't learn anything different. So what is the purpose of media days nowadays? And who is it really for?
Well, let's go SEC. And let me just give you an example. If you took all the other leagues, put them together, whether it's the rest of the P5 or it's the non-P5, and you combined their media attendance at those media days, football media days, league football media days, they would not equal the SEC. It's not even close. It's not even, I don't even know how to compare it. It's one is an absolute zoo. Used to not be, but it's turned into a zoo. And the SEC Football Media Days, guys, has turned into a made-for-the SEC network event. That's what that's all about. It's inventory. It's football. So what if there's very little revealed here? We got all these hours. We're going to pack it in there. And we're going to try and sell you on how important this is. That's the SEC. The rest of it, I mean, who else has a TV agreement that's any good? The Big Ten Network's the only other one. That network is so bad, I can't even watch its program. It used to not be, but it's just eroded through the years. It's just awful. So I don't know if I can define all the others, but I can define the SEC for you. It's a strictly made for TV. We got a lot of shelves to fill with inventory. Let's do it.
Well, and you got thirsty fans that are waiting for any kind of football talk possible. That'll be where, just devouring it, hand over fist, and you certainly understand why. Hey, I needed to get with you about the irony, I guess, of dual announcements of Frank Solich stepping down from the university, from Ohio University after an incredible run, winning his coach in MAC history. Same day that Nebraska announces Trev Alberts is the new athletic director, because you can kind of point to when Solich was let go so unceremoniously by Steve Peterson as that felt like the moment that Nebraska football began to crumble a bit. I know they had some good years under Pelini, but it kind of, the downfall kind of started there with Solich being let go.
Quick note here. If there's a worst AD than Jeff Long. It's Steve Peters. I mean, I'm talking about guys, the epitome of incompetence. And remember, Dr. Tom had to come back, run off Bill Callahan because they've hired Bill Callahan, who stripped them of all their football history. And they had to bring Dr. Tom in to run him out of town. That's when they hired Bo. But anyways, yeah, I remember in 1999, Fiesta Bowl lead up out in Scottsdale, and I'm interviewing Solich. This is year 2, and it looked, guys, like the Dr. Tom blueprint was in total fantastic shape. And I think it might have been. Now, a couple years later, they eroded from like 11-1 to only 9 wins, and they fired him for that, which was, I know historically we could look back, you just touched on it, a huge mistake. And they have not been able to claim their football culture or their blueprint ever since. Now, I don't know if Trev Alberts can do that or not. Scott Frost is not playing that kind of ball, so I don't know what the answer is. By the way, this scoring 1 million points and giving up 1,050 points, we have got a new name for that, guys, because I'm totally irritated with all these football teams and their players running these wimpy little TikTok dance things that we're seeing now on Twitter. So that kind of play, guys, is called TikTok football.
Football.
That's the arrival of it.
Love it. Absolutely love it, Bill. But back to on to with Nebraska, Dennis Dobbs and CBS Sports, they've released their annual hot and cold seat for college football coaches, and they only had 3 out of 130 who it's win or be fired. And obviously, Scott Frost is on that list. Justin Fuente from Virginia Tech and Randy Edsall from UConn is on that list as well. Is there anybody else that you think should be at the same level of win or be fired in college football, or are those 3 pretty much standalones?
I don't know if I put Frosty on there or not. Now, look, if it's just a total collapse, sure. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I would have him on the hottest of seats. Edsall is lost it. They didn't even play football last year. Mm-hmm. So I see a bad year, and he's done. And who am I? Is there any? I would say if Southern Cal has some sort of meltdown, Helton could be in some trouble. Heretofore, they have not been real, antsy about getting rid of him. But at some point, you got to realize it's not coming back under him. That might be one to look at.
Bill, there was conversations we've had the last couple of weeks. A couple of writers have thrown out the thought that Arkansas belongs in the Big 12, not in the SEC. And they're looking at it strictly, of course, from the football perspective. And we've had other people on that said, look, it's really just the last 8, 9, 10 years that Arkansas looks like they don't belong in the SEC. Before that, they certainly looked like they did football-wise. So in your mind, is Arkansas a good fit, A, in football in the SEC? And we know in the other sports they are. What's your thoughts?
Right. Like I've told you guys, I go back to before, but the '89 Cotton Bowl with Quinn Grovey and Barry Foster, and even the Lou Holtz team's a big upset over Oklahoma in the bowl game where they booted off their star tailback. I mean, a lot of great stories of Arkansas football. But that kind of glamour doesn't seem to be part of Arkansas football since 1992 when they joined. But the money is so exorbitant, guys, and the money is going to be even more with the CBS arrangement coming up and the new money there, the new money coming in from all of the expansion of the playoffs. So Arkansas, I know you're not suggesting this, but Arkansas is not going anywhere. But geographically and rivalry-wise, it's never really clicked like they thought.
Yeah, I mean, you tried to get a thing going with Tennessee. With LSU, you had that for a while. The deal with Mizzou is just not quite
forced.
There. You're still, and I understand what you mean about the rivalry aspect of it. And we fought against the thought and the idea here that Arkansas doesn't quite fit. But I can see the points. I can see the points you're making here. And my point usually is it ain't just about football. I know it is, but it really isn't at the same time.
Right. No, I think you're right.
Excuse me. Sorry, Bill. Kind of on the same line, we've had a lot of exodus from the Big 12 in the last real big conference shakeup. Is there a team that left the Big 12 that you think should be going back? I mean, should Colorado go back? Should Nebraska go back? Should A&M?
Nebraska has never been a natural fit in the Big Ten, but they don't care. Nebraska left for a couple of reasons, but number one, they left because of their out-and-out abject hatred for Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one, number two, and number three on the list. The absolute hatred of Texas. Texas runs the league. It's not objectively run, and Texas holds all the power. Them in Oklahoma, but in that order. And you got to also remember, they were going to bail and move out west. Nebraska was going to have to find a home. Big Ten is very stable financially. Heck, their league agreement's more than the SEC's right now. It hasn't translated to on-the-field success, but they would never go back because of their hatred for Texas. And, again, financially it's been good. But again, guys, what we always have to remember when it comes to expansion, there are two topics, and they're not necessarily related. That would be winning big, or does this league make us better to win big? Mm-hmm. Football, guys, it's a football topic. All the others are second class. And number two, the money. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters.
Bill, we'll leave it at that, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for hopping on and your thoughts, and we'll dig into more football stuff next week. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio, joins us usually every Wednesday right about now. Halftime is brought to you by The Fence Man. When it comes time for new gates and fence repairs at your home, make sure The Fence Man is your first call. They do everything from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs, too. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial to residential chain link, or custom wrought iron fencing. The Fence Man should be the only one to call. 479-782-3936. For The Fence Man, that's 782-3936. 18-month same as cash financing also available. If it involves fencing, The Fence Man does it. He ain't afraid of no work. Got to make sure we give Bill King credit for the TikTok football. When you're thinking TikTok baseball, there's one program, and it's Mississippi. I can understand the blah about TikTok football.